Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the new moon in Leo that is going to take place on August 18th, 2020, part 2 of 2. And first thing I want to talk about in part 2, as far as Sabian symbols go, okay, this is going to be at 26 degrees. So we're looking at it from Sabian symbols perspective. This could be start in some cases uh, of even perhaps a contentious situation, or a person becoming a little bit more disputatious. But and sometimes even this could be more give more susceptibility to some volatile or truculent action by another. Just be very careful at this time, because remember that the new moon in Leo is going to be making what I would call a loose inconjunct to Neptune. And you're talking about, I mean, you have moon. I mean, you're talking about Leo energy can be a little bit foolhardy and very brave and fearless. And I know, what I'm supposed to know, and I'm gonna be right no matter what. You have that in conjunct to the Neptune, and Neptune in Pisces. I mean, this is a lot of this is the culprit, I think, with the coronavirus pandemic going on. So people that want to be brave and fearless still need to take their precautions. Remember, this is also going to be making an inconjunct to Saturn and Capricorn. You're talking about inconjuncts in astrology are about adjustments, but on the positive side, Sabian symbols at 26 degrees Leo could be about showing, also really starting something where you're showing benevolence. And it could really make you, I mean, appear better outside, but the inside as well. And it's just important to remember to do these. If you're starting something where you're starting to express some benevolence and benign energy, and say you have this in the 12th house and you're doing it for people that are less fortunate than yourself, keep in mind that you need to eliminate any self-aggrandizement connected with it, that you're doing it for to help others, and it's not for personal glory or recognition. Uh, the thing about this is, too, it's also important to look at the electional aspects it makes, because of course that could impact the delineation and interpretation. Now, as I stated before, one thing it's going to do is make an inconjunct to Saturn at this time, and Saturn and Capricorn. You're talking about inconjuncts in astrology being about adjustments. You're going to be seeing, this could be a time where more people feel that they can go out and be more extroverted and gregarious and start partying, and which is the Leo energy. But we have to keep in mind, with this coronavirus pandemic, there could still be a lot of restrictions and stipulations connected with it. Don't act like we all, collectively, we all know it all, and that what we're going to do, we're going to go out and without any protection or what have you. It's still very important to take precautions at this time as far as these matters go. And the thing too is, as well, and remember that Saturn and Capricorn can also, I think, manifest in older mentors as well. That sometimes we have to go and understand, somebody else's viewpoint on something, and older, wiser people that might know about certain things in terms of, well, what should we do in terms of our enjoyment? How are we going to do this with as far as having precautions? Remember also, there's going to be an inconjunct to Neptune, a loose inconjunct to Neptune. This is going to make, it was interesting because I saw something online, and I was doing some research on certain events that were going to happen on August 18, 2020, the day of the new moon in Leo. And there was something in a town not far from where I lived when I lived in New York, and it was something. It was in Hicksville, and something about some kind of virtual enjoyment, and while having the kids watch, I guess it was watching something where they would be probably likely at home, and through online interaction, through seeing something online. So a lot of our enjoyment, I think, at this time, we have to remember, it could be done in that virtual way. Neptune can be about illusion, and I see Neptune as being like simulation as well. It's really not we might have more enjoyment not actually being exactly where we want to be as far as enjoyment goes, but doing it from our own home. As an example, whether it's watching sports events that give us that virtual reality look like we're almost right there at the stadium. Remember, Leo can be about sports as well. Another thing too is that other electional transits can be intensified at this time because they're taking place at the time of the new moon in Leo. Now, one thing I noticed is that we're going to have the North Node in Gemini make a sextile to Mercury in Leo at this time. And as I was talking about in the previous video, is that this could be very auspicious, I would say, like for starting, if you're doing some kind of like canvassing, going door to door. Remember, Gemini energy, Gemini could be about short journeys and mobility, and Mercury and Leo can be manifest in being able to boast about boast about things, brag up something. And you're talking about, I mean, going when you're going door to door and you're selling something, you're doing something like being a product demonstrator, promoting a product. This can be a very good time for beginning that at this time, because you have the North Node all in Gemini, also of course making a sextile to the new moon in Leo. So you have this energy that could be working well in one's favor. This could be a very good period for people that are starting to do some kind of canvassing or going door to door as far as selling an item goes. And it could work well where you could be talking very positively a lot of the good aspects or elements of the product, and without coming across as where you're being overly boastful, or you're just simply overlooking the negative of it. Has a better chance of going over well with prospective customers. Now, another thing I noticed too is that we're going to have Mars in Aries making a trine to the Sun in Leo at this time as well. And one way I think that can manifest and pan out is that, remember, Mars in Aries can be about mechanical ability. Sun in Leo, it could manifest in creating something that could be solar. I mean, Leo and the Sun are associated with what's solar, and it's the Sun. I mean, with solar energy. So it tells me this could be very auspicious for people that are creating products that are using the sun, using the sun's light to actually to be operated by, whether it's more solar cars or what have you. This tells me as well. Well, another thing I want to talk about is that also other transits to the natal chart can be amplified as well, because they're taking place at the time of the new moon in Leo. Now, at this time, we're going to have transit Venus, and I'm going to have transit Venus in Cancer, make a conjunction to my natal Sun in Cancer. So this could be a time where it could be very fortuitous for perhaps financial help and attaining my basic wants, which is the Sun. The Venus can be about money, and also Venus in Cancer by itself could be nurturing finances, but it's also the way it might manifest with me is about being able to be able to acquire the funds to help me with the basic wants associated with the Sun in Cancer, which could be something home related, such as actually moving, because I do plan on a moving transition around, not shortly after this period, so it could be beneficial to me as far as that goes. But it could also, I'm being a little bit over optimistic here, but maybe it could also manifest in a love coming my way as well. I'm also going to have the transit new moon in Leo conjunct my 5th house cusp, so being hopeful at this time. Leo energy can be hopeful, so that's what I'm being at this time. But also too, and the thing about this is, it's also important to look at contraindicators, as this, of course, could factor in to as far as this delineation goes for certain people. Now, keep in mind, I stated this in the previous video, but I'm going to say it again to reaffirm it, that, I mean, understand the new moon in astrology can really be about very exorbitant, having a surfeit and abundance of energy. But I mean, you could have some contraindicators such as transit Mars or the Sun being in your 12th house in your chart, as that could diminish energy and vitality. Other transit aspects too could include transit Neptune, making an adverse aspect to your natal Mars, Sun, or your ascendant, as you might feel a little bit more lethargic at this time and feel more like fantasizing, more like laying around being stagnant as opposed to taking action on something. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that. I'm back. And another thing too is when the new moon in astrology can be very auspicious, and having this in Leo, I mean, this is where you could have, I mean, it's very positive energy and starting something perhaps with a lot of confidence and self-assuredness, but there's also contraindicators you have to factor into consideration. That, I mean, let's say, for example, somebody has transit Saturn making an opposition to their natal Mercury in Cancer at this time. Well, one way this can manifest, remember that transit Saturn in adverse aspect to your natal Mercury might incline, have more propensity toward more negative, pessimistic thinking and seeing and viewing the downside on a lot of issues. And if somebody's having transit Saturn in Capricorn, making it saying opposition to their natal Mercury in Cancer, well, it could be, well, the person, the Mercury in Cancer, might feel, a little despondent about their own personal dilemmas and those problems, dilemmas associated with the world, and it's really could be impacting them in terms of making that fresh start in connection with the new moon in Leo energy. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about is that it also I want to talk about one example. If this falls in the 12th house in one's natal chart, well, this could be a time where one may flamboyantly help those that are less fortunate than yourself. But as I talked about before, if this falls in the 12th house, it's really important just when you're doing something um, for somebody, and this is even outside of astrology. This applies, regardless of transits, that you want to do it in a way where it's not so much about, getting accolades or being lauded or having personal recognition in connection with what you're doing, but doing it for some it could be satisfaction and feeling better about yourself and being happy that you're actually helping those that are less fortunate than yourself and bringing a smile to their faces and making a difference. And that's really what and just in general, that's what a lot of this energy could be about. Now, being the new moon in Leo, it could be about trying to get some personal recognition if you hadn't attained any in some time, or being lauded to some degree for things if you feel you've been neglected, if it's something career related, as an example. But if you're trying to just but at the same time, it's important not to do things with that expectation for just gaining notoriety and recognition. A lot of that will come anyway for the good that you're actually doing and for your achievements. And just important to stay focused on whatever it is that you're actually doing and not be quite as worried about, well, say I'm going to get I'm going to get this recognition for my efforts. People are going to see this and be recognized. It's really about, if you haven't, for people that really haven't gotten their attention or haven't been properly recognized for things that they have done, that I can understand this could be a time where they're trying to actually get it and in a start to actually be noted for what they're doing. If people have actually been very oblivious to things and they haven't received any credit that they have for whatever it is that they're doing, and that I would understand. But anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.